On the news tonight, President Muhammadu Buhari meets lawmakers on the possible passage of 2018 budget. In business, Nigeria's economy attracts total foreign exchange inflow of $30.45 billion in 2017. And on the foreign scene, Israeli army raid Palestinian village of Bata. Hello there, and many thanks for joining us on SuperScreen's flagship news. I am Adenike Owoye Ajiboye. President Muhammadu Buhari has met with the leadership of both the Senate and the House of Representatives, striking the deal on how both arms of government will work in synergy to see to the quick and possible passage of the 2018 budget for the overall interest of the country. Senate President Bukola Saraki and Speaker Yakubu Dogara met with the President and the Presidential Villa to deliberate on the thorny aspects of the budget. You will recall that the budget, which was presented to the National Assembly on November 7, 2017, with the hope that the lawmakers would promptly pass the document and enable a January to December financial calendar, has been delayed as the 8.6 trillion naira budget has been stuck in the National Assembly. Senior lawyer Femi Falana has faulted the upper chamber of the National Assembly on the move to override the president's veto on the bill which seeks to reorder the sequence of elections. Falana, in an exclusive interview with SuperScreen News, maintained that the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has all legal rights to decide how the election timetable should go.
About 4 provisions of the Constitution have empowered the INEC to appoint days for holding the election, governorship, legislative and presidential elections. But by an amendment carried out in 2010, the National Assembly erroneously amended those 4 provisions by adding the phrase subject to the Electoral Act. In the first place, which Electoral Act are you talking about? The Electoral Act that was in place then was the 2010 Electoral Act, assuming without considering that we are now dealing with the new proposed Electoral Act. You cannot use an act of parliament to override or amend the Constitution. It's the other way around. All laws shall be read subject to the Constitution and not the other way around. In other words, since the Constitution has conferred the power exclusively on the INEC to appoint days for holding the elections, to organize the election, to conduct the election, and supervise the election, no other body in Nigeria can usurp those powers by arranging the days for the election in what they call sequence of elections.
On the legal advice given to the Senate to ignore President Muhammadu Buhari's position and the move by the lawmakers to override the president's veto on the bills sent to him, Falana explains the process involved and equally gave his advice.
The Constitution allows the National Assembly to override the veto of the president. But in each given situation, the legislators will be required to examine the reasons for rejection, the reasons for declining assent by the president. If the reasons are persuasive and convincing and cogent, the legislators will be inviting unnecessary litigation if they go ahead to use their numerical strength. I will advise the National Assembly members to consider the reply of the president without any sentiment, and also seek sound legal advice with a view to appreciating the need to comply with the Constitution.
Well, senior lawyer Femi Falana reacting to national issues there. And now moving on the news, a Christian group in Niger State has asked the federal government to consider changing all boarding schools in the northeast, especially the female schools, to day schools. The group also called for community policing as a way of tackling insurgency in the country. This was disclosed during a visit by the group to the families of the abducted Dapchi schoolgirls in Yobe State. They also said the call for change of boarding to day school will help to reduce the occurrence of an abduction of students in the region. You will recall that the Dapchi schoolgirls were abducted on February 19, 2018 by the Boko Haram insurgents. Delta State Governor Ifeanyi Okowa has raised an alarm that 3 communities in Uweru, Ugeli North local government area have been occupied by the ravaging herdsmen, charging security agencies to curb their nefarious activities in the state before it results to crisis. Governor Okowa discussed this while speaking with the Assistant Inspector General, AIG, in charge of Zone 5, Rashid Akintunde. Okowa said the President General of the community spoke on the fact that the farmers are told to pay their herdsmen before they can enter their farms, which is very strange and disturbing. He also restated the concern of his administration about the security of life and property of every Deltan and the communities. Report says 20 out of the 27 Imo State lawmakers have endorsed Governor Rochas Okorocha's son-in-law, Uche Nwosu, for 2019 gubernatorial election in the state. A lawmaker representing Oguta local government area, Henry Ezediaro, who discussed this, said to journalists in Owerri that lawmakers took the decision at the official lodge of the Imo State Speaker. As Ezediaro claimed that lawmakers also consulted with their constituents before taking the decision. Nigerian women have been challenged on the need to participate in politics. This challenge was given to them at the Oduduwa Women's Council Forum to celebrate the 2018 International Women's Day. Still basking in the euphoria of the 2018 International Women's Day, this group of women under the aegis of Oduduwa Women Council enlightened women on the importance of participating in politics.
Priority in addressing gender inequality, gender equity, gender disparity is once you educate a child, get child, in today's economic arrangement, the driver of wealth creation is essentially cerebral.
As women, we are more spiritual, we are more committed. Men are committed. I'm saying our men are not committed. But you know, a mother would have a kind of feeling. It pictures a mother when the child is crying. So that is the spirit a woman would apply if she's in a leadership position. So that is why we need to encourage more women to participate and partake in politics. If we identify a lady that has potentials, let us invest in them, push, stop backbiting, unite our force to push our other women forward, then we will get there.
While some participants shed light on the advantages of a woman being relevant in politics, President of the group, who is also a former Commissioner for Women Affairs and Social Development in Lagos State, Simi Akindele Odumbaku, speaks on the rationale behind the theme Press for Progress, Women Inclusion and Leadership leadership, decision-making, and political participation.
There is very, very low level of inclusion of women in governance, even in leadership. Being an International Women's Day period, you know, March is our month, I decided that it was important that we should press for progress and progress in women inclusion, leadership, and political participation. We're here, advocacy, not just to celebrate, but to inform our women that they need to come out. They need to be a part of it. They need to get involved. The time is now. Nobody's going to come call you in your house to come out and play politics. Nobody's going to say that you should be relevant in your community. You have to make yourself relevant. You have to make yourself known. You have to make yourself seen. You must make yourself counted.
The Oduduwa Women Council was set up to reawaken the consciousness of the Yoruba women to take their rightful place amongst other Nigerian women and the world at large. Right, moving on to the news. Special Assistant to President Goodluck Jonathan on Domestic Affairs, Warakpamo Dudafa, currently facing trial over alleged 5.1 billion naira fraud through his counsel, Boyega Oyewole, has informed the court of his intention to file a no-face submission. The counsel to the second defendant in the matter, Ige Asemodara, has also informed the court of his intention to file a similar application. The resumed trial of Dudafa and Iwejo Joseph Nna, the prosecution counsel, Rotimi Oyedepo, told the court of his intention to close his case after the prosecution had tendered a document which was admitted in evidence. Trial Judge Justice Mohammed Idris, after listening to both parties, adjourned further hearing in the matter till April 25, 2018 for adoption of written addresses. The federal government is set to deploy the National Agency for Food, Drugs and Administrative Control, NAFDAC, and the National Drugs Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, to all the nation's airports, seaports, land ports to assist other border agencies in chemical anti-smuggling enforcement. The government will also introduce chemical security and safety courses into the curriculum of secondary schools, tertiary and training institutions of relevant ministries, departments, and agencies in Nigeria. The course will be introduced through the Federal Ministry of Education, FME, the National Universities Commission, NUC, National Board for Technical Education, NBTE, amongst others. Now, the Bauchi government has declared 3 days mourning over the death of the senator representing Bauchi South Senatorial District, Ali Wakile. The state government also stated that during the 3 days of mourning, the flags will fly at half-mast. Governor Abubakar, who is represented by spokesman Ali, described him as a vibrant senator whose contributions will be made on the floor of the Senate chambers. He said he has also suspended all state duties in Abuja, and according to reports, he is returning home to mourn after witnessing funeral prayers in the nation's capital. And now, coming up in the news. Nigeria's economy attracts total foreign exchange inflow of $30.44 billion. Details of these and more coming up shortly.
When you wake up in the morning, before you start your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time. For work and for play, for a great start to your day, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
We always start our day with a nourishing Kellogg's breakfast, powered with the goodness of grains and 11 essential vitamins and minerals. Kellogg's makes a great tasting breakfast for all of us. So in our family, breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
So I eat Kellogg's for breakfast. breakfast. It keeps me full of energy. It's tasty and nutritious. Even schoolwork seems so easy. Kellogg's every day. Breakfast time is Kellogg's time. Breakfast is Kellogg's.
So, give your family a tasty, nutritious breakfast of Kellogg's today. Now also available at just 15 naira.
Breakfast time is Kellogg's time.
Well, many thanks for staying with us. Now in business world, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, says Nigeria's economy has attracted a total foreign exchange inflow of $30.45 billion between October and December 2017. Figures obtained from the amount are contained in the CBN Economic Report for the fourth quarter of 2017, a copy of which was obtained by journalists. The foreign exchange inflow of $30.45 billion is an increase of 14.5% over what was recorded in the third quarter of 2017. The Apex Bank attributed the increase in foreign exchange inflow to 22.7% and 7.7% rise in flow through the CBN and autonomous sources, respectively. The Edo State government has commenced talks with the Nigerian Export-Import Exim Bank on how she can access over 553 billion naira funding for local manufacturers and industries. Edo State Governor Godwin Obaseki, who was represented by the Commissioner for Wealth Creation, Cooperatives and Employment, Emmanuel Uso, at a meeting organized for local manufacturers and officials of Exim Bank, said Edo State has the comparative advantage for exporting local goods, which will create employment for their youths. Obaseki said the state government is working to revive industrial activity. He also said the state government intends to achieve its promise to create 200,000 jobs with the funds offered by Exim Bank. Still talking business news, the Zonal Director National Housing Program, a North Central Zone, Valentine Uwaimo, says the federal government has embarked on the construction of no fewer than 532,000 units in 6 states in the zone and the Federal Capital Territory. Uwaimo, who disclosed this to journalists in Lorry, the Kwara State capital, during an inspection of the housing units at Osun Aremu Aliara community in the Lorry West local government area, explained that the housing units under the National Housing Project were in average of 76 units for Kwara, Benue, Nasarawa, Plateau, Kwara, and Kogi states. He also said that those for the FCT were high-rise buildings. He also stated that indigenous professionals were very competent and expressed satisfaction with the quality of work on the sites. Still ahead on the news, Israeli army raid Palestinian village of Bata. Join us for details of these and more after this time out. To stay. Well, it's so glad to have you back. Now, in international news, the United Nations UN Rights Office says it has been receiving alarming reports from Afrin in North or Western